Okay, everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a very long day. So I'm going to go over Skylab and how it's going to work. So as you recall, there's basically 3 milestones that you have to do from here. Okay, in between now and the splashdown event in August, there'll also be mission controls that happen every Tuesday. And the first one, we're going to go over HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap, and jQuery. So if you got some of those partially and not all of it, don't worry, we're going to revise it again, and it's going to be a much longer time frame, 2 hours, two separate workshops for that. Okay, so Skylab you've all used before, I think, because you had to register using it. Okay, so you have to basically go here and log in, and then once you've signed in, you will have a screen that looks a little bit like this. So this is a student from last year who's already actually finished with Orbital, but then you should get some ideas of what's going on with that. So let's see whether we can get to his information. Okay, let me do it another way. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, it's taking some time to log in. My apologies for that. Okay, so see, okay, it's not gonna let me do that. Okay, I'll look at it from another direction. Okay. Okay, so this is what is going to happen after you're able to log in and everything. You're going to see a screen a little bit like this one. It's going to tell you your team name. If you go to the team name here, you'll be able to adjust it by editing your team. You can change your achievement level and team name. And your advisor and mentor will be, if you have a mentor, will be listed here. Mentorship will be decided within the week. Okay, so going back to the user. Okay, so when you log into Skylab, you have these tabs here. Okay, so you're going to need to submit a project log for each of the 3 milestones. So last year, the first one was on the June 1st. So when you create it, you'll be able to edit it afterwards. But basically, you need to make a README, which is going to cover all of the different things that you need to write. Okay, what's the scope of the project that you're going to do? A brief description of what you're going to do. Some planned features. So this is important. You're going to have to come up with several user stories that are going to tell us what are the features that you're going to build for this iteration. Okay, you also have to put down your proposed achievement level. That's not obvious to the people who are evaluating you, and you can describe what you're trying to do to meet that level of expectation. Okay, so as I said at the bottom, for the first milestone, you have to tell us at least 3 user stories. We'll talk about that a little bit more through webcasts, okay, about what type of user you're supporting, what type of feature that you're trying to build for them. These should be core features that you're thinking of doing for the second iteration, and then writing at least 3 of them. Okay, the second part of this, aside from the README here, is the project log. That's down here. So I showed you a little bit of this yesterday. Basically, you can write a table that describes what all of you did. So this particular team, one of the team members was on reservist, NS reservist, couldn't make it to liftoff. So his team member was here for the entire duration, and that counts towards your 130 hours. So you spent here 8 hours at least. So you can count all those hours to fulfilling your 130 hour requirement. Okay, so based on this, you can give a total. So Ishvinder spent 25 hours in the first milestone, Justin spent 11. And so you're trying to, again, convince your team, the people who are reviewing you, whether you're on target to finishing. You're gonna have to do one of these READMEs and one of these project logs for each of the 3 milestones that you're going to do. Okay, and you're gonna also have to put the video link. If you have updated your video since splashdown, since ignition, then you can record another video and put it here. Otherwise, you're welcome to use the video that we took of you today. Okay, so after that, a week after the deadline, you're gonna have to evaluate other teams. So you're gonna be able to see their README and their logs and their videos, okay? And then you're gonna have to do your evaluation of them. So the evaluation forms are going to be put online. They'll be exactly the same ones as last year, but they're not populated yet. And they'll look like this for at least the first milestone, so I'll just reread it, okay? So for the first milestone due at the end of May, you need to be able to fill out these criteria for all of the teams that you're evaluating, and hence they will be evaluating your group on it. Okay, so these are the questions that we are going to ask you. The project should serve some user needs. Is it clear who would benefit from the project? Is the problem well defined? In fact, for the first month, it's all about ideation. We want to make sure that you have done a good job of trying to figure out what your problem is, okay, and have written a clear problem statement, just like I told you in the elevator pitch, okay? Does the project solve the most important aspects of the problem? In other words, when you're going towards the June iteration, just like you did in the design workshop, you want to consider whether the team has proposed user stories that meet what it is that they're trying to address, okay? And please provide some feedback if you can on that, especially for teams looking for Project Gemini, Apollo 11, you do have to fill in some useful text here. Okay, and for each feature or user story, I mean, these are basically the same thing. You're building a feature to support a particular user story, a particular user doing a particular activity or task. Okay, can you tell us whether the user role is well specified? Is the desired outcome of the project clear? And is the benefit of making that particular story implemented clear? Right, and again, for teams going for Project Gemini or Apollo, please give some useful feedback here. Okay, we learned about Agile yesterday from Winston, a seasoned developer. So we need to make sure that you're trying to meet that. So it's useful to demonstrate a working product at the end of each iteration. Each iteration is a 1-month sprint. So you have 1 month to clear the features that you've proposed to make, okay? Please explain your ratings on what set of features will be implemented, okay? And we check whether you think the project log and README are in good shape, okay? So especially when you get your project README from the other groups, you might go through those and say, oh, you know, I could do that for my project README and log. I think that would make my README more understandable. So we do notice this progression that when you start out in Orbital, you don't know how to do this very well. But because you're evaluating peer groups, they also help you level up, okay? And your advisors will be around also virtually to encourage you to do a good job of that, okay? So you have to talk about the log, how much time you spent on it, and any problems that come out of that, okay? Okay, there's this critical feedback section that I alluded to earlier. When you write this section, it will not appear as associated with your group. It will just come into them as anonymous feedback. I'll show you how that looks like in a while. And then this part is also viewable only by the advisors and not by the target group. Okay, do you think they're going to make it to the achievement level that they're targeting? You know, I don't think they're going to make any progress. I think they've done enough for Vostok, or they're heading towards that. I think they're good enough for Gemini, or even better. You know, so some groups may be like really outstanding. You wish you could be like them, so you can give them a bonus award point. Okay, so like I said, when you go to the forms, when you log in yourself, you'll be able to see the milestones that are associated. So you're going to be able to see the submission milestone for your own project, as well as the forms that you'll have to submit for the peer evaluation, which I just showed you as well. Okay, when you get your peer evaluations from the other teams, it'll look like this. Okay, so here are all the other teams that have submitted evaluations of you. Okay, so for example, there were 3 teams here that evaluated this team. The other teams, I think at least one of them dropped out of Orbital. Okay, so you can view all of the submitted evaluations, and then this will come in this form where all of them are serialized. Okay, so this form is nice because you can print it out or something like that, and you don't have to use the system to go back to see it. Okay, so you can go through all the checkboxes, especially all of the text that people have written in. Okay, so there's also a private tab here. Okay, that's the where you get the feedback that's anonymized. Okay, so in this case, you might have some anonymous feedback. So this particular team said the point is, is that the data is not usually accurate. Be prepared about this. Okay, so the feedback can come from peer teams. They can also come from your advisors. So you don't know who is giving you this critical feedback. Okay, so you're going to have to do this 3 times. Okay, once at the end of May, once at the end of June, and once at the end of July. The 3 milestones evaluation forms change, okay? Because basically at the beginning, you're doing ideation, thinking about the project, trying to determine the scope. The second month, you're trying to build the core features. And the third month, you're trying to refine it, okay? Build extra features that you weren't able to accomplish the first time around. Okay, with that, you'll be finished with all of the official milestones. The last one is splashdown, and you saw the splashdown posters outside. There's some media, hopefully it's up, that I can show you about what splashdown looks like. I think you've seen some of those pictures before, but I'll show you it. Okay, it's the only other mandatory event that happens in NUS Orbital. Everything else is not compulsory. So you'll be doing the same type of project showcase as you might see our seniors do at the end of the semester. Basically, you have to print out a poster like the ones outside and convince other people that your project was good. And we have, again, prizes sponsored by Google for the best project in each achievement level: Vostok, Project Gemini, and Apollo 11. Okay, so that will be happening, I think, 2nd week of August. So make sure that you're already in SOC after O week and week 1. The 2nd week of the semester, Wednesday afternoon, typically we don't have any classes scheduled in School of Computing. That is when we're going to have our splashdown. And with that, I'd like to thank you for all your attention, and we're going to close the session and hope to see you around virtually or in person at Mission Control next week. Okay, thank you very much and have a good evening.